Hey, what's up, you guys? I know sometimes it could be hard as single parents and as single moms, single fathers to just be holding it down all by yourselves. And so today I want to talk to you about some things that as life was lifing, y'all. As life was lifing, and I just had to grow through things and circumstances that I went through. It just taught me these points that I really live by, and I also just remember to remind myself about daily when I'm going through life as a single parent at the moment. I say at the moment because, it's not for forever. I do believe that we will find the love of our lives and we will be able to have a family that we wanted, and everything's not going down the drain. We have better endings. There is a light on the other side of the tunnel. So let's get into number one. Number one thing that I realized is that nobody owes me anything, not even my baby's father. And this one was a tough one because sometimes you feel like, but you were with me. You told me this, you told me that in the relationship, and he did this and he did that, or she did this. Nobody owes us anything. In reality, it's really important to remember that everything is decisions that we make. Decisions when the person disrespects you to stay. Decisions when a person crosses your boundary to not speak up. It's a decision. So it's very important in life to make sure you make good decisions. And if somebody's not following what you want, you make a decision to also leave so that now you're not bitter about why did that person abuse me when you could have just left. 2, the child didn't ask to be here. Ooh, I know, this is a tough one. Sometimes we can be yelling at the kids and be like, I'm stressed, I gave you food, you're wasting my food, all these things. And we're really taking a lot of our anger out on our kids because we're frustrated, bills are high, we don't have any time for ourselves and things like that. And so a lot of times we could be really yelling at the kid, but the kid never asked to be here. It's just like, someone pulling you into a fight and then you're like, come on, fight, punch her. And you're like, I did not, I just came out here to have food. Why you always have to bring drama? Why are you bringing me into this? Like now telling me that, start fighting too. No, I didn't ask to be here. So just like the child didn't ask to be here, it's not good for us to be yelling at the kid feeling like, you're the reason, or you're just like your mom or your dad. It's not that. It's important to remember that the kid didn't actually be here. 4, don't speak bad things about the other parent. It's very hard because a lot of times the kids may actually, even I've heard situations, or even in my own personal situation, like where maybe the person may want to call the other person, or they want to the other parent and also want to chat with them, and maybe the other parent is not willing to answer their phone, or they're just not present. And sometimes I even have seen situations where they'll even be like, why do you want to talk to that person? Don't you see that they don't care about you? It's not good, because at the end of the day, people change. And that's the thing that sometimes the other parent that's doing most of the work may also get upset about, get frustrated about, that there may be a time where the child does want to actually be with the other parent, or maybe want to be with the parent at the moment right now. And because of the hurt that you're going through, you're like, no, that person can't be in your life. And it's not really any justified reason. It's more like, well, they don't help me with no bills, so they can't see you. And there's many factors. A person may be, there emotionally for the kid, but not there financially. A person may be there physically, but then they can't provide financially. They don't have enough money, but they give their quality time. So we can't just only make it to be about money, because it's way more than that. Parenting is way more than just money. It's physical presence, and it's the impact that you make on them by your own character, your own behavior, and how you model to them life. So I would say don't speak bad things about the other parent, because there's going to be a time where they're going to come around and they're going to make amends. And even though you may have said stuff or put stuff in their head, they're going to toss all that to the side and be like, I'm just happy that you're in my life again. And that's what it's going to really come down to. So it's really important to not even be bitter to where you're attacking the parent or smearing their name. Just let life be what it is and let the cards lay out. When they see that they're not showing up to games and they said they'll be there, when they see that they call, they don't answer, it's already going to be clear as day what is going on, and let that speak for itself rather than you saying negative things. Another thing I learned is also to heal, because it will take years, sometimes 18 years, 20 years, and a lot of us are still bitter about the other parent. A lot of us are still angry and saying, well, I had to struggle and I missed school and I wasn't able to do this and that. And it was like, that's exactly why, even though if you have a kid, you should try your hardest to still find ways to live the life that you wanted to live. Go to school. Maybe you might have to get on welfare. Maybe you might have to get on programs that will help you pay for school and give you childcare. You have to humble yourself and say, you know what, this is the cards that I was dealt with because of the choices I made. Going back to number 1, because of the choices I made, but I'm not going to let that rob me of my destiny. Don't get to 40, 50 years old and you're saying, oh, I would have been a singer. I would have been an engineer. I would have been a nurse, but it was you. It was me trying to be the best for you. No, the child didn't ask to be here. Number one, as we talked about before. And two, it can't be that just because of one affair, one sexual encounter, your whole destiny is destroyed. Like, that's you give that person a lot of credit because the person just came into your life just for a little bit and now you never reached your destiny. That's it. So I really make it a point in my own life to make sure that I am really going out with my friends. I am, of course, it's important to make sure your household's together, your house is clean, your kids have food and to eat, healthy food. And then you go out with your girls and stuff. Make sure your house is in order first before you go out, of course. But I go out with my friends. Sometimes I'll say, okay, you know what? I want to do this. I want to get this done. I want to get this outfit. I want to change my wardrobe. How am I going to make it happen? And I start critically thinking. That's why a lot of parents or single parents end up being business owners and making a lot of money, because you have to think outside the box. A lot of times you don't have the free time to give like everybody else. So you have to be strategic in the ways that you can get things done and still be present with your kid. I know that that's one thing that having a kid has taught me is how to be resourceful with my time. I'm really great now at like multitasking, figuring out, okay, well, she could watch him on Thursday and then my sister said she's going to watch him on Friday and they're going to drop her at her house so I can hang out with my girl for the whole 4 weeks. I'm going to pack lunch. I'll be thinking, but I'll be down if I let just one sexual encounter make me to not be where I want to be in life or not to be my best version. Like, that's giving someone way too much power over just a situation. And, to be honest, a lot of us, when we were thinking about having our kid, we were happy about it. We're like, oh my gosh, the baby and the baby clothes, and I'm going to be a mom and I'm going to take them to school. But it's just the fact that the other parent's not in the picture now that we're letting the whole dream die. And it shouldn't be like that. It really should be that we live our fullest. We still think outside the box. We still dream. That's the more reason why, if you are struggling so much to where you can't go out with your friends, you don't have money, you really are on welfare, you really only have $1,000 a month to manage, that is the more reason why you should close your legs. It just really is mind-boggling how some people can have a kid, 2 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, and they're crying boo-hoo that they're not able to provide or take care of themselves, or they don't have no time for themselves. They're yelling at the kids. And it's like, why do you keep having more kids when you know that there's no time? Why do you keep having more kids when you know that you don't have enough energy to give them their best? It's already hard to give your own self the love you need. And now you're popping out you 4 or 5 more. So it's also looking back at our decisions and actually learning from them and saying, okay, I made, I had the situation, I had a kid out of it, but I'm still going to be where I want to be. And the next time it's going to be with someone who is going to be with me and we're going to be married, and that's what it's going to be. You can change the narrative by, once again, your choices. Your choices really do matter about everything. Another thing is seeking mental health. I know sometimes people, I don't need no mental health. I don't need it. No, it's really important. It is extremely important to seek mental health. It's important to talk to people, get a counselor, and be like, I am frustrated with these kids right now. Like, I am frustrated with his father that he has another kid with someone else, but then he doesn't want it. It's really important to actually go deep and heal, because a lot of times we don't realize we're taking out so much frustration on our kids. A lot of us we're 1 minute away from depression, 1 minute away from being suicidal, because the stress is real. It's important. There's so many services out there for single parents that will help us, and also that are free. So it's really important to not be ashamed and not feel like I don't have no mental problems. No, we all have something we're dealing with: anxiety, stress, depression, whatever it may be. And it's really important to actually be okay with knowing that I'm not well right now. I'm really angry. I have a lot of frustration within me. I really want to sock somebody because of what they did. It's really important to be honest about yourself and where you are, and actually try to get healing, because on the other side of feeling is you reaching your destiny. On the other side of feeling is you having that love life that you wanted. On the other side of the feeling is your kids being where they want to be and being happy and being the mom that you really envisioned for yourself, but because of stress, you're unable to be that. Another thing is to listen when your kids express their feelings. When they say, I don't like that uncle did this, I don't like that this person does that. A lot of times we don't have someone to watch our kids at the moment. And so we're like, that's, your uncle's the only person that can watch you. I had to go to work. Or your auntie is the only person, or I have to drop you at this daycare. And your kids are like, I don't want to go to that daycare. Well, that's what you have to do. And, we're yelling, but you don't know that the kid doesn't want to go to that daycare because they're molesting him, because they're teasing him, because they're making them do things that they don't want to do. It's really important to not just be so desperate to find someone to watch our kids so that we can have an avenue avenue of rest that we put our kids in jeopardy and compromise them. It's really important to say, okay, God, and even lean on your spiritual guide, on whoever you pray to say, I really am trying to make this happen. God, I have a job, I'm trying to keep my job. God, make provision, make healthy provision for me to be able to drop my kid off and for everything to be how it's supposed to be so I don't lose this job. I know I cry out to God many times and he's helped me so much. And because I was mindful of who and where and what I'm leaving my kid in, the environment, I know that God blessed me and I don't have so much toxic stuff to have to deal with than if I were to just leave him in a situation that my spirit was kind of like, that person's kind of fishy, So I just wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of those things. I'm going to do a part 2 also. Some other things that I learned as a single mom. And I hope that these points really just kind of were nuggets to help you to grow. It's really important that we go through a lot as parents. I swear, sometimes I'm I don't even know. I'm tired of being always on the go. I'm tired of always having to think about the next thing, the next money plan, the next where he's going to go, putting him in soccer. I'm always the one that has to do everything. And it can get exhausting. It really can get exhausting. And so that's why it's important to have community, you guys. I've been so grateful to have community and places where I can go to with single moms group online, people that are talking about homeschooling, and they're like, hey, join my my YouTube personal group for $2.99 a month. And I put that investment because that $2.99 I can go get my lashes done for $200. And I'm just paying $2.99 to be in a community where other people will be crying out and be like, my kids stressed me out today too. And I can be like, wow, other people are going through it too. And some people are even going through it worse than you. So it really gives you hope. So it's really important to have community. Take ownership of the stuff that you put yourself in, really, and actually change and make decisions. In life, it's all about choices. If someone's disrespecting you, or you don't like something, or you don't like how your household is, change it. If you don't like how someone's treating you, change it and remove yourself from that environment. If you don't like how your body looks, change it. Literally, you have the decision in your hand to do what you want to do and to navigate how you want your life to be. And so don't put it in someone else's hands to be just because you had a kid with them now, you can't be your best. Just because you had a kid now, you have to be sorry. No, you're giving them way too much power. Honestly, that's madness. That's one thing every day I wake up I'm gonna be my best version. I'm not gonna be 50 years old and be like, I would have been a nurse, but I was watching you. I would have had a loved one, but I was trying to provide for you. I would have. No, it's not gonna be a would have. It's gonna be a mom is great. Mom was doing all these things and we traveled and we got to see places. We got to do things. I'm gonna be who I wanted to be without no regrets because life is too short. So I hope this message encouraged you. Definitely stay tuned to the channel. Like and subscribe. If the message really resonated with you, there's more to come. I'll see you later. Hey you guys, all right, so we're doing a part 2, things that we learned as a single mom. So going back to the next topic the next point, the next one was not to run after money and to really spend time with your kids. That was something that was really, really important to me. As I am going through life and everything, I realized that a lot of times you run after money rather than spending time with our family. And by the time we know it, it's too late. We had the money, but then we lost the memories. And it's really tough because sometimes, bills is billing. We got to make some money. We got to do the things that we wanted to do. But it's really important that we understand that as we sit down and really understand that blessings are going to come to us when we relax. Blessings are going to come to us when we stop overthinking things and being like, where's the money going to come from? How is it? And really putting that negative fear out in the world to where we're not able to actually, expand and think. There's a difference from people who work 9 to 5s and they work every day, and when they come back home, they're exhausted. There is no time to drink. There is no time to say, I want to have a mechanic shop. I want to sell a luxury good. There is no time for that. You come back home, we're tired, we'll go to bed. That's the end of that. But there's a difference from when you have 1 month at home. You'll start thinking oh, you know what, dang, well, I haven't been doing any of the gardening work for a while. And wow, the trees are looking overgrown. You actually can pay attention to things. So sometimes there will be moments where money will be funny, work will sometimes be scarce as, a registered nurse. As registry as a nurse, sometimes I don't get calls and stuff like that. And so I had to sit down for a moment and I had to calm myself down to be like, money will come. Let me take my kid to school. Let me me enjoy my kid. Let me pick him up. Let me have fun time with him today. And shifts will come. And sure enough, the shifts did come, and I made the money by the end of the week. And I was happy that I actually got to be in that moment to be like, let me enjoy this moment than to be sitting here and to be so focused on how's money going to come. Let me call people. Let me ask people, and be in fear. Be present with your kids, because money is not all of it. It's how you're acting. It's how you're showing them to live life. Are you stressed? Are you in that place of money, money, money? I don't have time for you guys. After you come back from work, you don't have time for your kids. Money is literally running your life. So it's really important to not be about money and to really spend time with your family members, because you never know when they're going to be here. You never know when they're not going to be there. Next, I learned is don't just tell your kids rules. You also have to follow the same rules. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. That was sad, because I was talking to one lady and I was like, I'm just upset because I'll tell my son to make the bed, and then he'd be like, well, why don't you make your bed? And I'm just like, don't tell me that. I'm the adult. I don't need to make my own bed. And then she was just like, why don't you make your own bed? And I was just like, ma'am, this is not what we're here to talk about. She came for all my edges, hair and edges, everything. And I was like, okay, I was just saying that, we got to lead by example. If you're telling them not to cuss, don't cuss like a sailor. If you are telling them to be respectful and to, not be a whore out here, don't be letting different men up in the house and your children seeing that. You got to follow by example. So it's really important to follow by example and to not just say things and be like, I'm the adult, you just follow me. No, if you want him to make your bed, lead by example. Why do you want him to make your bed? Because it makes the place neat. So make your own room neat and make your bed neat so that he sees and said, well, I made my bed. What's your excuse? Well, I follow my own rules. What's your excuse? And when I started to do that, he started to be more receptive to when I give rules, because I follow my own rules. Next, don't let strangers around your kid. A lot of times we're dating, we're in the love life. We're still trying to navigate everything as a parent, but it's important to not be letting people inside your house, and to also be mindful that the people that you're dealing with should have their stuff together. They really should have their stuff together to where they don't need to come to your house for date night. They don't need to come to your house because there's nowhere else to go, because they don't have no money to take you on a date. Like, we're already starting off wrong. It's important to make sure that you go outside of the house when you want to go on a date. You go outside of the house when you want to do things. And if you do invite a man over or a female over, let it be that your kids are at your sister's house, your friend's house, your whatever house, in a safe environment, to where you can be there and the person can be there, and you don't have to introduce them to your kids, because kids are smart. They'll be like, this is always your friend. This is another friend, but does your friends give you kisses? Exposure. Oh, Lord. Another thing is that you're created to give life. You're created to be the best version of yourself. And don't let things in life rob you of that. It's way too much to give someone so much power that because they're with you, because you're dating them, because of whatever it was, now you can't be who you want us to be. Don't let that be it. I see so many people that are like negative and negative Nancy's and just so bitter about how life can't change after this, and how there's just no way out. And it's just like, that's the more reason why we got to think outside of the box. God gives certain battles to people who he knows will succeed in it, who he knows will prosper. And so I believe that, me having my kid, even though there may be times where I get frustrated about things, it's not going to kill me. I have learned so much. I have grown so much, and I'm so grateful. And I'm happy that throughout the whole time that I was with my kid, I would do videos. I would take videos of him walking, his first walking. Well, he got it as well at that time, but even as he wasn't in the picture no more, like physically in the house or anything like that, we would go out to play places and jumping places, and I would do videos of us sitting in the chair, eating ice cream, making silly faces. And I'm so grateful because I have so many memories of every single age, hundreds of videos. And I'm so happy because when his birthday came last couple months ago, I was able to look at them and it brought me to tears. Like, wow, I could see him smiling. I could see me smiling. That was I remember that moment. And that's what matters, those experiences that when you look back, you're like, yeah, everything wasn't the way I wanted it to be. Money wasn't always where I wanted it to be, but I had a good time. And I grew and I learned through the lessons that I made. And I learned to be receptive to my kid and to love my kid and to love my journey. And so, all right, I hope you guys have gained something from this message. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you feel like this message resonated with you. If you felt like you got some good nuggets, there's more encouragement, more life-changing conversations that I want to have with you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and make sure you stay positive and make sure you go after what you want with no regrets.